Some 330 million years ago, the suburban town of Bearsden, situated on the north bank of the River Clyde, 6 miles west of Glasgow city centre, has emerged from the prehistoric landmass of Laurentia. When Scotland sat south of its current latitude in the equatorial waters of what was then shallow sedimented lagoons formed by the divergent plate boundaries of the
Get to the shark!
When ununiform fractures form subterranean to weaker linear rises in the Earth's litos.
Get to the shark!
Action.
These ruptures form what is now known as the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, which at that time sat between Laurentia and...
Blimey, it's been a while since anyone's been back here. I was just getting comfy too, but I ain't complaining. Well, I better introduce myself. My name is Akmastinian Zangerli, Greek or something for anvil sail. Pretty neat, innit? I think it's something to do with my big dorsal fin. People don't give me much attention these days. I'm categorised under fish for Pete's sake, or an ironing board. Being only 1 metre doesn't amount to much press, does it? Stupid megalodon. Megalodon, more like. Things were harder back over 300 million years before that marine unit. Us sharks pioneered what was to come, much like anything in evolution, and I was stuck with this inelegant block covered with small spines, similar to my other relatives in the Cethacanthidae group. This head-heavy lump means I couldn't travel as fast as my mates. Made me a pathetic sportsman, but alas, you get used to it. You learn things move slower down on the seabed, so I got by just fine. Megalodon. I like that. Back in my day, these waters were far toastier and shallower than they are here now. And as much as it'd be fun swimming around the towns of Ayrshire and the suburbs of Glasgow, we got the luxury of tropical lagoons in our equatorial waters. So that could be worse. No jetting off to Mallorca required. Not that there was need to. Things were much closer in the golden Pangea days. The Highlands used to meet the Rockies before they were separated by millions of years of tectonic action. In fact, many of my relatives have been unearthed in Montana, of all places. So all too soon, my days closed in and it ended there.
This here is the site where it was all discovered. A huge deal for paleontology as a whole, and all thanks to one person.
Who the shell are you?
What?
Keep your mitts off my dig site.
I thought this would happen. Yes, Jim, I tell Julie to fish out the permit. I'm going to need it ASAP.
Paperwork? You dafty.
What do you want?
I see what's happening. This movie you're making is about me.
It's about a shark that went extinct about 330...
30 million years ago. I know the story. Do you want my help or not?
Where is your voice even coming from?
My name is Akmastinian Zangerli. Oh, reached it. The Bearsden shark then.
Mansburn is a pretty insignificant body of water. That is until 1982, where renowned fossil hunter Stan Wood was brought rocks housing fossil bearings for small prehistoric aquatic life in marine shales along the burn. Remnants of marine fossils used to be visible along the burn for many to find. I thought you were helping.
Sharks are a strange kind of fossil because they don't tend to preserve very well because they're made mostly of cartilage, and cartilage tends to decompose very rapidly.
It is the best sample of the fossil shark anywhere in the world. Any other samples are fragmented and nothing like the quality of the Bearsden shark.
Normally the cartilage would decompose completely and all you would be left with are just the teeth, the denticles of the shark. But it's so unusual that even the blood vessels, the muscles and the last meal of the shark are perfectly preserved inside the body of the fossil.
That's a museum now, just sort of over there.
No way! For oldies like me.
Aye, prehistoric.
Psst, we're waiting.
Oh, you've been summoned.
Action.
When the fossil was first found, Stan had a particular way of identifying whether there was a fossil inside the rock or not. If there was a slight bulge to it, then he said, yes, there's a fossil shark. Nobody else could have said there's a fossil shark in there just by looking at the rock, but he was able to tell from the shape of the rock, the slight indentations and bulging in the rock, that there was something inside there.
His reputation was second to none because he could find things, he could recover things, and he could preserve things which have formed the basis of an awful lot of the paleontological science since those days.
While Stan Woods is credited for discovering the fossil, its importance scientifically and in the field would not be what it was without the help of others.
Stan approached the Hunterian. At that time there was a scheme called YOP, Youth Opportunities Programme, and this was a government encouraging young people who were otherwise unemployed to get work experience. So funding was made available and Stan put together a team.
In terms of paleontology, this was a big excavation. It was about 5 metres by 3 metres sized pit that he was able to dig. And from this dig he was able to find a number of these fossil sharks which went to other museums.
Quite an attention seeker.
Must be my anvil. I'll give it to you guys. You lot are clever. Not all of you.
Nobody's entirely sure what the dorsal fin was used for, but one of the ideas mooted is it was for display purposes so that the male could attract females for mating.
There's been a whole host of different ideas as to what this might have been used for. Some people have suggested that it may have been that the shark would arch its back so that the dorsal spine would point forward with all its teeth pointing forward, and it also had a lot of teeth on the top of its head as well, so that would make it look like a huge big mouth. Others have suggested that it may have been for attaching to bigger fish so that it could hitch a ride and feed off any food remains that came out of the mouth. Other possibilities include scrabbling about in the mud, turning over and scrabbling about in the mud to try and get small invertebrates and whatever out so that it could feed on them.
That one?
Glasgow Uni.
Huh.
Hey, you're answering the questions, not me.
So I'm, whatever, a big deal.
Aye, sadly, to some degree.
Sadly.
Well,
What's that one?
Kelvin Grove.
Big scientific thing, huh?
Well, not just that.
Huh?
Well, there's a poem about you.
A what?
A poem by Edwin Morgan.
What?
Edwin Morgan.
Oh.
Hello, officer. There's a madman running about the park with an umbrella. I think he's about to batter someone.
While Woods was clearly a very talented fossil hunter, events like this can't help but make me think that how can such a story, such a strong historical discovery, come from just a few square metres of dull bankside above a small burn? What about the few metres next to that? What about that field, that park?
What about them?
Can you not just let me finish a point?
Ooh, we've angered the Kraken.
Krakens don't exist.
The square metres next to that field, that park.
The thing that really inspires me is finding something new, something different, something nobody has ever seen before, and bringing it back to life almost. It's trying to bring what has been dead for 300 million years back to life.
Exactly, you didn't exist before 1982.
Looking good for 40 at that.
It really is important to remember findings like this. They bring communities together that are becoming increasingly separated with modern lifestyles and technology. They educate us all about where we live and where we come from. I had no idea about all this.
Nope.
Shut it. You're cool, but you're not funny. With all the negativity and quickly changing society we find ourselves in, whether you're interested in the history or not, stepping back and appreciating positive findings like this remind us how productive and clever people can be. It reminds us to value what we have and the world we live on.
Okay, God, enough.
What else used to happen here before Glasgow, before Bearsden? What else used to live in these lands, these waters? Oh, run!
Let's get nearby planet.
We can't go to the blue planet. We can't go to the red planet either.
Do we have to go to the green planet?
Yes, we have to go to the green planet for the field.
Green, green, green everywhere. Oh no, I'm frozen. Go get a field.
Okay.
I'm going to save you.
Alright, John, come on in. Think you have got enough vitamin D for the day?
Come in, Dad.
My name is Alfred Dalman, and my unique selling point is that I have lived in the same house for 66 years since I was born. My parents bought the house in November 1954 for £3,000, carpets included. The neighbours thought they had been done paying so much money for the house. Going back to the 1960s, I remember some of the shops at Bearsden Cross. Cooper's stood where the former R.S. McCall was until last year at the junction of Newkirk Road and Drimmen Road. They sold ground coffee and had a bacon slicer for slicing meat, which the assistant would do for you, rather than getting pre-packaged goods as you do nowadays. There was a lovely aroma of coffee in the shop. Where the cancer research shop is at the moment in Drimmen Road was a baker's called Strachan's. This was run by Mr. Strachan, who made fabulous cakes. I remember my 9th birthday cake came from Strachan's, and they were really quite something. A.C. Mitchell and Sons were motor dealers dealing in Morris and Wolseley cars. They could provide you with a taxi if you needed one. They had an electrical department, which is where the Oxfam shop now is, and they had a small garden in front of the shop up until 1964 with 2 gates, and you had to go through a very small garden to reach the shop. R&J Templeton opened a supermarket where Marks and Spencer Simply Food stands. This supermarket had the unique selling point of having music as you walked round, and we called it the singing supermarket. Another shop which I remember was Miss Liddell's. It was an ironmonger's, and it stood where Lloyd's Chemists, or rather half of Lloyd's Chemists, now exists. Miss Liddell had a very old cash register, and in 1971, when decimal currency came in, I wondered how she would manage with such an old cash register, and thought that she would need to invest in a new one. However, to my surprise and delight, I found that she had had it converted to pounds and pence instead of pounds, shillings and pence, and the cash register continued. It was obvious from the shop that it was formerly a house, and in the back store there was a fireplace. It was a lovely shop, and I was very sorry to see it go.
What's going on, guys? Duncan Vlogs here. In today's video we're going to be breaking into that church that you just saw.
Oh yeah.
I hope today's going to be a fun video. We all excited?
Yeah, let's do this.
Go! Balaclava.
Okay, we can do this.
Johnny, do you want to hand me a screwdriver?
Man, are you sure about this?
Yes, I'm sure. Come on, Johnny.
Right, yeah.
Alright, let's go.
Let's go.
You still want to do this?
Yeah, I can do it.
Alright. What, 100%?
Yeah, I'm sure. Okay, so we're at the church door now, and we're gonna break in.
Debbie, get on guard.
Oh, this place is massive.
I know, right? I'm going to check right to see if there's anything there.
Alright.
You excited?
Oh yeah, breaking into the church. I always wanted to do it. Look, arguing. What's that? Open me. What is that? Did you guys see that?
What are you seeing? Stop messing with us, Duncan. Come on.
I'm not messing around. We gotta go now. Go, 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 go.
What's in it? Run, go! Go!
Okay, so they've been in there for over 5 minutes now, and I'm getting a bit worried. What was that noise?
I don't want to talk about it, but the Duncan vlog, it's over now. Bye!
What happened?
Get out of here quickly!
Duncan's just messing with everyone again.
Okay, guys, so I guess that's it over now. I just hope we don't get caught.
The ghost portal has been opened. The ghosts are free to haunt the world forever. And the world will be mine! Mwahaha!
Guys, what happened? You're not telling me anything.
Duncan saw something in there.
No, he didn't. He's just messing with all
Yes,
of us.
I did.
No, you didn't.
I opened the jar and out some ghosts.
Ghosts?
Ghosts.
This doesn't make sense. It just doesn't add up.
Come on, it's getting dark. Let's just go home.
I swear, you
yeah,
guys
just
are my
let
friends.
What should we do now?
Oh no, that's a ghost.
Where? Where? Come on, ghost. Come on, ghost.
Johnny?
What?
Right there.
Oh. Where?
There, can you not see that?
Oh, I don't see it.
Strange.
You have to stop Katrina. You have to close the ghost portal, or else she's going to take over the world.
We have to stop Katrina and close the ghost portal, which must be the jar that I opened. Let's go close the ghost portal.
You are strong. You can do this.
I can't. I don't want to do this.
You can do this. You're my pal.
I can't. I'm terrified of ghosts.
I know you are, but you can conquer your fear. The world is resting on your shoulders.
I don't think I can.
You must do this because you can do this, and I believe in you.
All right. See ya.
See ya.
My plan is almost complete. No one will ever find me.
I found you. I'm gonna need that ghost portal back.
You're gonna have to get to me first.
Not a problem.
Hmm?
I bet you're quite weak.
You think?
Yeah. Hit me. Not weak. Ooh. Oh, that beat my nose. Okay. You forgot about one thing though. I ain't afraid of no ghost. Finally, it's over.
No!
My name is William McKinley, and I was born in Bearsden. During the war, the 13th of March 1941, there was a raid by German bombers on Clydebank. Hundreds of German bombers flew over Bearsden and Glasgow area, particularly to bomb shipyards and part of the industrial part of Glasgow. When the air raid started, my mother and father did not have a shelter, but a shelter was erected, of all places, in Beauclair Cemetery. And those people who did not have their own air raid shelters were taken along to the cemetery and into the air raid shelter. The raid started at night, and my father took us along to the air raid shelter at the cemetery. So I can remember the raid went on and on and on. And my father had received a letter from the rector of the school I went to, stating that if an air raid lasted more than a certain number of hours, you didn't have to go to school the next day. So I remember asking my mother after what seemed to be an inordinate amount of time, what the time was. And she looked at her watch, she said, "It's 2 o'clock. I said, "Oh dear, if the raid lasts a few more hours, I won't have to go to school tomorrow." So I kept pestering my mother about this. What's the time? And eventually, the raid went on until it was daylight. And I didn't have to go to school the next day. And it's said that the German bombers saw the railway line through Bearsden to Mulgai. It was because it was a moonlight night, it was shimmering. And the story goes that some of the bombers thought this was the River Clyde and they were going to hit the shipyards. So they started dropping incendiary bombs on this hillside, which of course caught fire. And the next day, Sandy and I went out to the hillside to find some souvenirs. And I remember picking up a used incendiary bomb. And at night, my father came home from his work. At the tea table, he said to me what he'd been doing today. So I told him, and I said, "There's what I found." He says, "Give me that at once." He was frightened it was still alive, and he took it away from me. Now, there were a lot of anti-aircraft fire, and this is a piece of shrapnel which she found in the garden. During the war, there were various fundraising activities, and this was one by Meccano. Now, Meccano made lots of what we call dinky toys, lovely toys, metal toys. And they offered this little plane as a Spitfire. And the monies from this sale of these went towards a fund, probably an Air Force fund during the war. The other item I've got here is a letter from the Bearsden Invasion Committee. This was sent to every home in Bearsden about what to do and what not to do when the Germans landed. Now, if they landed by parachute, the church bells would ring, and this would notify everyone what had happened, as well as the soldiers who were protecting us. And that's the item there. The main thing you hadn't to do was to go out of your house and clog up the roads. Because when the Germans attacked Belgium and France, the civilians rushed out of their houses and clogged up the roads. So the soldiers found it very difficult to get to the enemy. And that is one of the things that you've to do or not to do in these notices.
Hello, my name is Felix Goffeder. I am the film facilitator for today, which is the Family Fun Film Day, which is a bit of a mouthful, but as you can see behind us, we've got, I think, up to kind of 25 people turning up today to make stop animation films. I think we've got some new filmmakers in here. I'm excited to work with a whole range of people, I think from as young as 5 all the way up to adulthood, wherever that might be. So the first thing we're going to look to do is teach them how to use tripods, how to use this new app called App Studio, and then create moving images that shouldn't move to create stories about each other and the things that they love. Another thing is like, do you remember I showed you those frames per second? If you're happy, 5, that's fine. All the way down, and then you go all the way up.
made a film about a pool party, and
so we made a film about 3 people going to a pool party, and basically when they got there they got changed, and one of them was on a deck chair just lounging, like having a relaxing day. One of them was jumping in, and one of them was snorkeling. Then a zebra came along and peeked in and said, "Oh, I want to do that," and then just jumped right in, and water went everywhere, and then they just all had fun together.
And then when they jumped in, they turned all colourful, and it was a toy zebra that we used. It was my toy, and
and I did some drawings for it. Thank you. Bye.
Why we're here today is because we are making films.
And are you having fun?
Yes.
So what was the first film you made?
The first film we made was with ornaments, cuddly toys, and they walked along the stream. So, what did we do with the ornaments?
Well, we actually made all the ornaments yesterday. We went to craft on a raft, and the 3 of us painted our own ornaments, so we thought that'd be a nice thing to bring along today to represent each one of us as a family.
Hi, my name's Hadley, and I went all the way to the Manchester City Stadium, and I got this ball, and it's really cool. And I also won this in a tournament.
Well, my name's Amelia Douglas, and I used this.
My name's Maxwell, and today we did some stop animation. We used some of the stuff we brought from home.
A horse got startled. And yeah, basically.
Hi, I'm Harris Douglas, and today we have been doing lots of stop motion. So first of all, we worked on angling it and getting the camera in the shot, and then we worked on trying to maybe add a bit more to it and how much you need to move it, and the FPS. We had to create a stop motion about things that we all liked. So I used this car. So I quite like the film James Bond, and it's a James Bond car.
I'm Eva.
Eva, what age are you?
11.
And tell us all about your day so far.
It's been really great fun. We've been making stop motion animations. We first done one about a banana, and now we're doing one about ourselves. It's about a man playing the drums because my brother loves playing the drums, but we've also included some artwork in it because I love to do art.
Hi there, my name is Dominic and I came here because I found this class to be a little bit nostalgic, because when I was in my teenage years I was doing a lot of motion capture, like kind of animation movies and creating music, so the feeling is like bringing me back to my teenage years.
Hi, my name is Veronica. I went here because I was gonna do some animating and stuff. I've done like 3 or 4 videos. The first video was about my best friend Tiger eating a banana. Second video, Tiger met a banana and he rides on it. And I think the third video was him playing with me. Okay, and I think that's all. Bye!
My video, because we've done 3 of those, is about getting married and having a baby and meeting the love of my life, my husband Dominic. So that's it, yeah. Thank you.
We made a movie about a banana that gets chased by a ball when the owners of the banana and ball are trying to get them back. And basically the ball, so basically it starts off as the person falls, which played by Hamish, falls, trips, then the banana the ball comes over, knocks the banana out of the person's hands and chases the banana, and that's the whole tale of the movie. Thank you. And when the ball goes over the person's hand, he lets go and can't grab the banana again because his wrist hurts because the ball went over it. So, and he rolls away out of the screen, and that's how the banana escapes.
So that's us at the halfway point. We have made films about football and monsters and hammers and worked with Play-Doh and drawing and created masterpieces and drumming and all sorts along the way, which has been really amazing. So they've taken the idea of Wonderful You and they've just made it wonderful. That's the truth. Anyway, so we're on our break at the moment, so everyone you can see in the background is off on their lunch, and the next thing we'll be doing, our next challenge, is to create underwater sea worlds, because obviously this year it's the Bearsden Festival theme is about the Bearsden shark. So what we're going to do is we're each going to create these individual underwater worlds, and we're going to create sharks that swim through them and then in and out of each other's worlds. So hopefully we can join them together to create like a really visually rich, incredible scene to end our little movie.
My name is Elise Fleck, and I have an interesting story to tell you about fish in Bearsden. In 1835, the Reverend Andrew Sim wrote an account of the parish of New Kilpatrick. He had this interesting story to tell about when it rained fish in Bearsden. A singular phenomenon occurred in the summer of 1832, which was carefully investigated at the time, and the fact fully ascertained. On the 13th of June of that year, there fell near Castle Hill a shower of fish, consisting chiefly of herring fry. Some of them were described as being the size of large minnows, but the largest that I saw were about 2 inches in length. Upwards of 100 were found huddled together by the roadside. Others were probably washed away by the stream that was speedily formed, and some were seen scattered over the neighbouring field. 3 days after the occurrence, I picked up a few, but this time they were much disfigured. But still, it was not difficult to discover what they were, and some which I saw, preserved in spirits, left no doubt of their being herring. Castle Hill is 3 or 4 miles distant from the Clyde, from which they had probably been caught up by a whirlwind and carried hither through the air. They fell amidst a very heavy shower of rain, accompanied with particular rushing noise, which was heard at a considerable distance. And that is the reason you should always carry an umbrella in Bearsden.
I was thinking of light green for the nursery.
We don't need to think about that yet. Jeremy from work says you can't paint company houses.
Well, if you could.
Rosie, I wish we could.
I know what's really on your mind, Andrew.
It's hard for it not to be. What's the point in painting a house we can't keep?
Who says we can't keep it?
I know. I'll make it work.
Valcorp employees, Universal Mission Launch 17.
I'll make it work. There might very well be something up your street after all, Andrew. Here. It's a new scheme. Valcorp's latest.
Tempest Protocol.
Yes, the Tempest Protocol is Valcorp's new asteroid mining setup in the inner halo, far reaches of a cluster nebula. They have a craft scheduled to launch in 1 week.
Inner halo?
Zone of avoidance, that's not
Yes, yes. Well, you'll be purely an overseer of operations.
This job will have you back on Earth before winter. The payout, Andrew.
The payout will cover you and your family on behalf of Valcorp for the rest of your life.
But...
Life, Andrew. This company? Well, the company have had their eye on you ever since your success in our prime operation in the Orion Spur. You're big news.
Well, thank you, but it's very nice, but I'm just looking to pay off my house.
The house will be yours.
I know, right? Yeah, it's just what we need, Rosie. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Alright, I'll explain it later. I love you. See you later.
Up early this morning, Andrew. Take a seat. There's one more thing you should know about the job. For your life on Earth, you'll be away for 2 months. You'll be back before your baby's born. However, for you, the rate of time will be anywhere between 8 months and 27 years from your perspective. I understand this can be quite hard to take. However, my top Valcorp engineers assure me you'll be quite safe. But think of the benefits. You'll be set up for life. Your debts, your fees, your house. It's all yours. It's all yours, Andrew. Sign the papers.
Sorry, no biohazards in the craft. Valcorp Tempest Protocol Launch 1. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Valcorp, we have liftoff.
My name is Joyce Deans, and I lived in Bearsden from the age of 8. And one of my memories, which is very clear, I lived in Beauclair Road, and every Saturday and Sunday there was a lady who came and sat at the bottom of Beauclair Road at the junction with Mulgai Road. And she sat on a little stool, and she had a huge basket of flowers. And people came out in the tramcar, red tramcar, and they bought flowers from the flower lady, and they walked up the hill of Beauclair Road and along to the cemetery and placed the flowers on the graves of their family and friends. And that happened every Saturday and every Sunday. It was a steady stream of people coming off tramcars, purchasing the flowers and going to the cemetery. After school, it was just a normal thing to go to school in the morning with your ice skates, and then you went down to Cahoon Park from school, 4 o'clock-ish in the afternoon, getting dark, and you skated. The chap who eventually became my husband, he played for the ice hockey team for Bearsden, and they played against the team in Kirkintilloch, team in Bishopbriggs, teams all round of ice hockey. Now, who would imagine that you could play ice hockey in Bearsden in today's climate? So, don't tell me there's no climate change. I also remember deciding on one occasion to make a birthday cake for my father. And I went down to the local grocer's shop and I bought, quite separately, I bought 2 eggs at 3 halfpence each, old money. I bought a packet of sugar and a small packet of flour and took them home and proudly made a cake for my father's birthday. But it was the 2 eggs that I always remember. When I go into a shop nowadays and you can only buy half a dozen eggs, you can't buy 1 egg or 2 eggs. So that's another thing that's very different in today's world. I was in Glasgow at the time of the Blitz, and at the time of the Blitz, on the 2 nights blitzing Clydebank, my brother and I were in an brick air raid shelter in the garden, which my father had arranged to have built. And we were in bunks. And my little brother was on the top bunk, I was in the bottom bunk, and he told everybody that he was in the top bunk so that if anything serious happened, he would fall down on top of me and I would be squashed. That's really my main memory of the Blitz, apart from going and searching for shrapnel and stuff the next day.
I'm Sally Mudge and I'm here in New Kilpatrick Church to talk about some of the stained glass windows. As most of you know, stained glass windows tell biblical stories, but there are also other stories behind the windows, and I've been looking to tell you a story connected to the Bearsden shark. And these are the two windows at the back of the church, on the left and on the right. And these two windows were donated to the church by the young family who lived in Bearsden. Now, the connection to the Bearsden shark is through their occupation. They were coal miners and they owned the coal mines up at Baljaffrey. And of course, as you probably all know, coal comes from a period in geological history called the Carboniferous. And this was the time that the Bearsden shark was around 330 million years ago, approximately. But there is another connection as well to the Bearsden shark in this church, one you probably wouldn't even think about. The stones themselves also come from the Carboniferous. And if you've got time and you walk around the church and look very, very, very closely up at the rocks, you will see the tiny grains of sand that were in the beaches, in the sediment, under these tropical seas where the Bearsden shark actually swam. Now, you all know about continental drift nowadays and how the continents moved. And at that time, when the Bearsden shark was swimming around in these lovely warm waters, Scotland, Bearsden, was really much nearer the equator, probably where the Bahamas are today. So take the chance and go and have a look at these rocks and see these lovely sands.